We are predicting the 2025 AFC West standings, and spoiler alert, the Kansas City Chiefs are winning the division for the 10th straight year. Listen, I understand, okay, their demise has been talked about, and it's been greatly exaggerated, okay? The Chiefs are still winning this division. Everybody talks about how bad the offense was last year, how bad Mahomes was last year. Hollywood Brown missed the entire year. Rashee Rice missed 14 games. Isaiah Pacheco broke his leg and missed a ton of time. Their offensive line was in flux for the entire year, and this team still went 15-2 and lost in the Super Bowl. Okay. They've won 9 straight division titles, make it 10. Okay. This year, 2025, the Kansas City Chiefs will be winning the Super Bowl. However, I don't think their record is going to be as good this year as it was last year. I think their team's actually going to be better, but I don't think their record's going to be as good, if that makes sense, because last year they kind of won a lot of little fluky, end of regulation, end of overtime type games that I don't know if is as repeatable this year. So I don't think their record's going to be as good, but I think they're going to go 12-5, win this division for the 10th straight year. They're going to be as dangerous as ever heading into the postseason. But I wanted to ask you guys if you guys think this is going to be a close division race here in the 2025 AFC West, because I do think it has the potential to be a close race down to the end.
Honestly, I think this is the most competitive division in the NFL. I'm sorry, Sammy. It's the most competitive division in the NFL right now. All 4 of these teams can make the playoffs. All 4 of these teams can make this a tight division. I see all 4 of these teams flirting with an above 500 record. I think that this is probably, from just an overall talent, where teams are at. You like all the head coaches. You like all the offense. You like the quarterbacks. You like the weapons. You like the defenses. Everything about these teams is good. Each one of them has a little bit of a weakness. The Chiefs' primary playmakers are aging. How is that going to hold up? Everything like that. The secondary in Las Vegas, that's a big question mark. Bo Nix's year 2 leap, can he continue to develop? How do those young pass catchers, because they have a very young offensive core in Denver, right? And then you look at the Chargers and how do they progress now that they've got, Marion Hampton there with, Najee Harris. How is that running tandem going to look? Do they go start letting, Justin Herbert pass the ball a bit more? They were one of the most balanced offenses in football after, Justin Herbert pretty much broke records for most passing yards in the first 3 years of your career, right? Like, each team has some questions. Each team has the talent to overcome those questions. I honestly think the Chiefs regress, but to your point, they're not going to regress enough to lose this division. I think they're going to come down a little bit. They got a pretty tough schedule this year. You look at how much better every other team in the division got. This is probably one of those divisions where I could arguably say that this thing isn't decided. Not a single spot in this division is decided to week 18. That's how I feel about the AFC West. I do think the Chiefs ultimately take it because I like their quarterback better than I like every other quarterback in this division. And that's really all you need to say when it comes down to how to pick a team, is because that's what controls points. That's what controls the leadership of the team. And Patrick Mahomes has proven it time and time again. That's why I'm giving it to him. At the end of the day, once again, just like I said about the AFC East, 2 through 4 is a toss-up, realistically. And as I said, week 18, everything's a toss-up. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm saying every one of these teams makes the playoffs. It'll be an AFC West dominated playoffs. I think that if the only team I see not making the playoffs in this division is the Raiders. But as everyone's alluded to already, I'm a big Raiders glazer this year. I'm fully on board with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. I'm ready for him not to write back. All 4 teams are making the playoffs in this division. All 4 of these teams have winning records. And I would not be surprised, like I said, week 18, nothing's decided in the AFC West.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree strongly, actually. Look, and this is nothing personal towards the Raiders or the Chiefs. Here's what I think of the Raiders. The Raiders, they feel like a team trying to compete without the actual tools to do it. I don't really like their defense that much. I don't like their offensive line that much. Their weapons, like Jacoby Myers, solid option, but can he be a wide receiver 1? I don't personally think so. They upgraded at the QB position. Congrats to you. But at the end of the day, Geno Smith in the AFC West, can he make the playoffs? Respectfully, I don't think that. And by the way, it's not just the AFC West. I also think the AFC, the entire AFC has a ton of good teams going for them as well. So the Raiders, I don't think are going to be a playoff team. And the Chargers, I'll be honest, I think the Chargers are going to regress this year. That's what my prediction. I think Jim Harbaugh had a great first year, but second year, look, the Chargers, their offensive line got worse. I think, look, they lost Rashawn Slater for the entire year. Their weapons room didn't really get that much better. Yeah, you brought in Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. I think Omarion Hampton has a lot more upside. Not too big of a fan of Najee Harris.
Don't you disrespect Oronde Gadsden the second.
Here we go.
I've had enough disrespect of my man.
Here we go, man. Your man. Okay, then. All right.
That's my boy.
All right. Yeah.
I picked him early, and you all laughed at me about all the weird names I pick.
In fantasy?
Drafting 1-0 or 105. I'll do it.
All right, man. Oh, please. And by the way, this is training camp we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, training camp means absolutely nothing if you can't translate it on the field, okay? Don't listen to everything you see in training camp, okay? You want to know why? Because I support a team that just so happens to have great reports sometime in training camp. And guess what? It really doesn't matter. Anyways, the Chargers, the defense feels suspect, and I don't think it can be fixed. Like they don't really have the players to fix it. The secondary, again, not very good. You're in a division with Patrick Mahomes and an offense that's going to be coached by Sean Payton that could potentially expose it, which segues me to the Broncos. I have two shockers in the AFC. I have the Patriots and I have the Broncos. I have the Broncos winning 11 games this year. That's what I think of the Broncos. I think the Broncos have a fantastic defense. I think their defense got better somehow. Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga got added to this defense. I think it becomes better. And the offense, second year Bo Nix. If Bo Nix can take that leap, look, 11 wins might kind of just be scratching the surface. If he can because last year Bo Nix wasn't really doing too much. He was kind of doing what he was doing at Oregon, dumping it down. But you saw flashes of his arm talent somehow, some way. You saw flashes of his arm talent. And their wide receiving core, not as proven, right? Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, right? Troy Franklin. I'm not that high on Troy Franklin, if I'm being honest. But
Pat Bryant.
I'm sorry. Oh, Pat. Yeah, of course, Pat Bryant. I almost forgot about Pat Bryant. Sorry, guys. I almost forgot about Pat Bryant. Guys, I shouldn't have forgotten about Pat Bryant. Anyway, the Broncos, in my opinion, I didn't like their trade of Deshaun Villay. I didn't like that move, but I have them at 11-6, and I have them one game under the Kansas City Chiefs at 12-5. I think this race is going to be super close, but I don't think it's going to be a 4-team race. I think it's going to be a 2-team race, and I think the Broncos are going to shock a lot of people. They're going to be 11-6, but the Chiefs, they're the Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, the new Patriots. They're winning this division.
Listen, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I'm completely thinking about switching all of my predictions now because I almost agreed with everything that Sammy had to say there, and it's making me really nervous because Sammy's not right very often, and I don't want to be wrong. So I feel like I should change all of my predictions because again, I agreed way too much. We agreed on the freaking AFC East for a lot of it too, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, we're agreeing too much. This isn't good. Okay,
this isn't good at all.
We need more. We need more disagreement, and I don't like agreeing with you. But again, what I had written down was, listen, the Raiders had huge improvements at head coach with Pete Carroll, quarterback with Geno Smith, running back with Ashton Genty, offensive coordinator with Chip Kelly. However, I still have a lot of questions about the defense. The wide receiver core is better, but is it going to be like a high flying offense? I don't think so. And the other three teams in the division, in my opinion, have better rosters, quarterbacks, and head coaches to me at this point. So I think it's a good stepping stone season for the Raiders, but I think it's 8-9 or 7-10. This is going to be a solid stepping stone year for them, but I still think they're going to finish last in the division. The top three teams in the division, I think, all have a great chance of making the playoffs, but 2 and 3 was the hardest for me, and I put the Chargers at 3 because their schedule is slightly harder. I literally wrote down, I believe the defense will regress a little bit this year as well, and the loss of Rashawn Slater is going to be bigger than most people think, which again is making me consider everything that I've ever thought about my entire life, and I want to change my pick because these are all things that Sammy just said. And the other teams in the division, to me, improved more than the Chargers did as well. So I think the Chargers are a 9 or a 10 win team battling for one of those final playoff spots, and they're going to regress a little bit this year, like Sammy just mentioned. And I hate the fact that he just mentioned it because now it's making me want to change my pick, and I don't like it at all. And the team that I think is going to finish second in this division, just like Sammy said, I think they hit their first 3 picks out of the ballpark with Jahdae Barron, RJ Harvey, and Pat Bryant, Joe's boy. It's the Denver Broncos. They also added Evan Ingram, who I think is going to have a great year. I wrote down getting Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw from the San Francisco 49ers is going to be big for them this year as well, even though there's still injury concerns.
Did you actually copy me, Matt?
It's written down. I can send you the whole thing. It's written down here in my notes section of my phone.
I have notes too here, buddy.
I also wrote.
I have the notes here.
Would you believe that Sammy is younger than Matt, and one of them is doing things from 1970 and 80, and the other one's using modern 21st century technology, and it's not who you think.
That is actually kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. I mean, he's not that much younger. He's not like from the freaking.
Jeez,
he's not
Joe,
like from the,
how old do you think Matt is? Have some respect, man.
I just assumed he's
28.
closer to me than he is to you.
I think we're all kind of I think we're all kind of spread out evenly because Joe's like 76 and I'm like 28 and Joe and Sammy's like 22 or something like that. I don't even know. So pretty even split there. But no, back to the Broncos. I mean, listen, like they added Greenlaw and Hufanga, even though there's injury concerns, adding to a defense that was already one of the best in football, top 3 unit in the league. Great offensive line as well. Better weapons this year, a run game that will improve this year as well because of RJ Harvey. Bo Nix is going to have a year or two improvement. Expectations are high for Denver and a reason. I can show you my notes. I wrote down 11 wins this year for the Denver Broncos and the 5 seed going into the playoffs. So again, this is ridiculous. I hate everything about it. I agree with Sammy way too damn much. This episode sucks now, and bye.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.